every session of Gnana Deeksha. I am Blessy Hepzibah, PGT in English. It's a lockdown for all of us, right? But it's a physical lockdown and it's not emotionally. During this time of physical disconnection, don't you think that staying emotionally connected is very important? Let's begin our session with an anecdote. Yes. So once a bus was traveling in a night with full of passengers. There was a sudden change in the weather. There was a heavy downpour and lightning. The lightning was coming towards the bus and going elsewhere. So the driver had to stop the bus 50 feet away from a tree. Then he told the passengers that there is a person in the bus whose death is certain, and it is because of him that everyone will be killed. So he told all the passengers that each passenger should go near the tree, touch the tree and come back, so that the person who has to die, when he touches the tree, the lightning will strike the tree and he will be killed. In this way, all the remaining passengers will be saved. So it was a turn of the first passenger. The first passenger, with full of fear, went near the tree. He touched the tree and he came back. He was extremely happy that nothing happened to him. Like this, it went on with all the passengers. Now, there was only one passenger left in the bus. So this passenger thought that death was certain for him because he was the only one remaining in the bus. So he also went with full of fear, thinking that he would die. So when he went near the tree, he touched the tree. Guess what happened? When he touched the tree, the lightning struck the bus and all the passengers were killed. Now what do you observe in this anecdote? The driver thought that it is because of one passenger that all will be killed. But he couldn't realize that it is because of that passenger, 2 or 3 instances, they all were saved from the lightning. So many a times, even in our lives, we try to take the credit for our personal achievement. But it may be because of the person who is right next to us. So remember, students, that there is always a person in our life around us in the form of a parent, a relative, your teacher, your friend, etc. So that's the beauty of human relations. So our topic for today is human relations. Human relations. Okay, let's look at the slide. Now what do you observe in the slide? You can see few pictures here. In the first 2 pictures, you see that people are helping each other, supporting each other, and in order to accomplish a task. Whereas in the next picture, which is towards the right side, what idea do you get? The moment you see the picture, it may be a conflict between 2 persons, or it may be we understand that there is no peace of mind. So broadly we can say that it suggests some bad relations between people, isn't it? So the pictures on the left side suggest some good relations, and the picture on the right side tells us about some bad relations between people. Let's look at another slide. Yes. Now what do you see here? You see the interlink between the people, how the people are connected to each other. If you just take one person here in this picture, you can see in how many ways they are connected to different people. Yes. So today we'll see how to stay connected to each other. You may ask, why do we need to stay connected to each other? You will get the answers for all of these questions in today's session. So by the end of the session, you will be able to learn about human relations, know the importance of human relations, analyze the theme and link with your personal experience. Okay. Next, here we have an excerpt which is taken from the diary of a 72-year-old man. Let's see what he tells, what he writes in his diary. Let me read for you in detail. As I sit here alone and waiting, I gaze at people passing me by. I try to smile and reach out to them, but no one notices, no one waits. They look to me like I am nothing. Are they afraid to be seen saying hi to an old man like me? Now, what did you understand from this? If you look at the picture, you can see an old man sitting to a corner, and you can just observe the expression on his face. There is no smile. That indicates that he is not happy. And you can see all the remaining people in the picture. They are busy with their day-to-day chores. And here the old man says that nobody cares for him and nobody has time to look at his face. Nobody notices him even if he sits there. So probably the people are afraid that if they look at his face, he may say hi to them and they may need to talk to him. So they are so busy that they don't have time to look at other person's face. Now, what is the tone of the speaker here? What is the tone of the old man? It is somewhat sounding sad and he has a very melancholic tone, right? Okay. After seeing this excerpt, few questions arise in our mind. Yes? Has a globalized world encroached the spaces in human relations? Has technology changed the lifestyle of the people? Can we fill the hollowness of human relations? Yes, definitely we can. But how? And what is human relations? Let us look at the definition of human relations. Yes, human relations can be defined as relations with people or between people, the way in which we are connected or our state of being connected. So in general, we can say that human relations is the interaction between the people and the way we are connected to each other, the state of being connected. You already observed in the picture. We have another definition given by Robert Owen. He says that human relations is interaction and cooperation of people in a group. We have many definitions given by various psychologists and who studied more about this human relations. You can as well look into the picture, how the people are interacting with each other and how they are talking to each other, communicating well and staying connected to each other. Yes? Let's look at the other slide. Now, what are the two most important places in a person's life? The first one is home. Definitely home is a most important place in a person's life because home is the happiest place on earth, isn't it? Yes. Home is very important because it is a foundation to instill all the values among the children. Yes. So, it is only through home that children or the adults, they learn certain values like respect, concern, love, sacrifices made by the parents for the children. Yes, and the parents also hold very important responsibility in this regard. Okay, so when you have good relations at home, definitely you will have good relations outside. The next most important place in a person's life is society. Yes, so when you learn the values at home and when you learn the importance of relationship at home, definitely you would maintain good relations even in the society because healthy family relations contribute to a healthy society. Yes. Okay. Next. You may ask me, how can I develop healthy relations? How can I have good relations with others? I always fight with others or I don't know how to maintain good relations. Here are the answers for your questions. A person requires few traits in order to maintain healthy relations, whether in the family or outside. The first and foremost important trait is commitment. Yes, A person should be committed in whatever work he is doing, whether it is maintaining good relations or whatever work he is doing. A person should have that sense of responsibility. Even when you look at a student who is writing an exam, if he is committed towards working hard, then definitely he would succeed. So, a person should take part in problem solving and decision making. So, students, are you taking good decisions, or are you helping your friends in solving the problems? If you have this trait, definitely it will lead into a very good relationship. The next important trait is trust. Trust is the building block of any successful relationship. Without trust, there is no relation. So, parents should create trust among their children, and even the children also should reciprocate the same trust, should create that trust between themselves and their parents. Sometimes parents make promises, but they do not stand on them. So, when you are an example, definitely even the children also follow the same. Even children, when you follow the things which are told by your teachers, your parents or your elders, then that will create a very good trust on you. The next time when your teacher wants to give some work, they will have trust on you. Next, respect. Now, we should always respect other person's tastes, their ideas and their opinions. Sometimes we always want to share our own ideas, our opinion, and we don't give chance for others to speak. But we should listen to others' opinions also. That is also very important. So, when we take their ideas, then that will lead into a very strong bond of relations. Next, the next important trait is communication. Communication is the heart and soul of any relationship. Without communication, then it would be simply void. There won't be any relationship. So, we should communicate well with each other and see that it is a very positive communication. Next, love. This is the first and foremost important thing. Love and affection we see in family relations. So, when you experience that, definitely unselfish love we will develop, and it leads to a very good relations outside when we go out. Next, time. Time is also the most important factor, because these days we don't have time to give it to others. We don't take time, we don't spend time with even our family members or with others. So, quality time should be given by the parents for their children or for your friends when you want to maintain good relations. Sometimes without giving proper time, we try to judge the people. We simply jump to the conclusions. Let's see an example here. Okay, we have a question here. Who is the better person? We have three persons, Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. Mr. A, he had friendship with bad politicians, he had 2 wives, chain smoker, etc., etc. Mr. B, he was kicked out of office twice, sleep still known, used opium in college, and etc. Mr. C, he is a decorated war hero, a vegetarian, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, and etc. Now, who do you think is a better person among these three, Mr. A, B or C? You would definitely want Mr. C, right? But you would be surprised if I say that Mr. A is Franklin Roosevelt, who was the former president of US, and Mr. B is Winston Churchill, who was the former Prime Minister of UK. Mr. C is Adolf Hitler. You are aware of this famous figure. He was the person who was the reason for World War II, and he was the Chancellor of Germany. You might have learned more about him in your social studies. So, isn't it strange? So, now what? Do not jump to conclusions. Simply the moment we hear something about a person, we don't give much time to learn more about that person, but simply we start judging a person. So, never jump to conclusions without understanding a person completely. Every person is important in our life. So, never judge others without giving proper time. Now, what is this called? Without giving time and judging others. Do you know about halo effect? Yes. It might be sounding something new, but it is common in all of us. What is halo effect? Assuming that if a person has one trait we like, then all the traits must be desirable. Suppose students, if you like a quality in your friend, then you assume that your friend has all the good qualities. And if you don't like a certain quality in one of your classmates, then you assume that that person has all such bad qualities in him or her. So, assuming that if a person has one quality which we like, all the traits, all the qualities are like that. This is called halo effect. And reverse halo effect. What is reverse halo effect? If we find any such undesirable quality in any person, then we assume that that person has all such undesirable qualities present in him. So, that is reverse halo effect. So, most of us have this halo effect or reverse halo effect in our day-to-day life. So, the way we perceive the things are very important in maintaining good relations. Perceptions are the key components in developing good relationships, because it depends on the way we see the things, the way we perceive it. So, when we perceive things positively and when we give good time to it, then definitely we can maintain and we can develop good relationships with others. Okay. Next, it is, now who do you see here? Who is the person? Yes, she is Mother Teresa. She is called as the saint of the gutters. You know, students, what is the meaning of a gutter? Gutter is something like a large trough for the rainwater to go. It is generally towards the side of the road. So, why is she called as a saint of the gutters? Generally, when we want to be friendly with a person, or when sometimes even when we want to talk to an unknown person, we check who that person is and we choose the persons. From where are they coming, or to which place do they belong, so and so, etc. But Mother Teresa chose the persons when she wanted to serve the poorest of the poor. She chose such persons. You can see the locality in the picture in which places they served the people. So, Mother Teresa says, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. Till now we have seen that we should not judge people without giving proper time to them. So, we should take time in order to maintain very strong relations. So, the moment we start judging people, we don't have time to love them. This is what Mother Teresa says. You know, when a woman was lying in Kolkata, Mother Teresa observed that woman, and that woman was in a very bad situation, that her leg was completely wounded and rats were eating her legs. So, people were passing by, but nobody cared for her. So, Mother Teresa took that woman to the hospital, where the nurse asked to give the money, and she said that there is no place for such persons, to admit such persons in the hospital. So, Mother Teresa took that woman to an abandoned hotel which was opposite to the hospital, and she started cleaning the wound and she started serving the people in this way. So, slowly the hospital started sending the people whom they didn't like to admit in the hospital. So, slowly all the people gathered there in that small old abandoned hotel. In this way, Mother Teresa served the poorest of the poor. That is the reason she was given the title Saint of the Gutters. So, she chose the people whom nobody cared for, and she just wanted to make sure that before she knows that that person is in a very bad condition and there's no hope for them to be alive, but still she wanted to create that impression that before they die somebody cares for them. So I'm not asking children that to serve like Mother Teresa, to give your service like Mother Teresa, but just reflect on one thing. Are you doing the simple things in your school or in your dorms? Are you helping your friends, whoever is in need of help? Are you trying to solve the problems, the small problems in your day-to-day life in the dorm or in the classroom? Are you the first person, or are you putting a step ahead in order to help your friends? Or you always have the conflicts with your friends or your classmates? Just reflect on this and introspect yourselves. Okay. We have many lessons in our syllabus which are based on this theme of human relations. Let's look at them. Okay. Now, why human relations? Before we look into the lessons, you may ask me why I need to maintain human relations, good relations. Yes, here is the answer for your question. To gain confidence. Yes. So when you have the idea that when you are aware that your friends are there for you, or your whatever situation it might be, if you think that many people support you, the people around you are always there for you, they always cooperate with you, then that gives lots of confidence for you. So in order to gain good confidence, you need to maintain good relations. Next, make good decisions. So sometimes we'll be in a dilemma. We do not know what decision we have to take in our life. So when you ask your friends or your dear ones, they will be helping you all probably. So when you have good relations, then only you can ask them. So this will lead into a very strong bond of relations. So in every part of your life, you can take good decisions. Next, ability to work with a diverse group. So we can't predict that here now we are in our place. So tomorrow and in future, you do not know in which place you might be. You might be working at some other place away from your hometown. So wherever you are, if you communicate well, if you interact with people well, if you maintain good relations, then that will give you all an ability to work with a diverse group. You don't fear about what that group is, who that people are. But when you have good relations, then it gives you a lot of ability to work with any person. Next, be a good leader. So imagine you are the leader of a group and all the group members support you a lot. Whatever you say, they encourage you a lot and they want only you as a leader. So when does this happen? When you maintain good relations with each and every person, not just with one person. So definitely you will be called as a good leader. Achieve success. This is the most important thing in our lives. Whatever work we do, wherever we go, we want to achieve success, right? So when we have that good coordination between people and when we communicate well, interact well, when we have good relations, then there's no fear for us and definitely finally we will achieve success. Lead a happy life. So every point of your life will be happy if you have good relations without any conflicts, even in your school or your dorms. If you have good relations with everyone, then everybody likes you and you can lead a very happy and peaceful life. You need not fear about anything. Okay. Next. Okay. Let's look at the first one of our lessons in our syllabus. What can $1.11 do? You can see two pictures here in this slide. The first picture is, you can see a girl standing there. Okay, that girl's name is Tess. She is an 8-year-old girl and she comes to a medical store. Her brother called Andrew, he is very sick and the parents cannot afford to give him treatment. He has to undergo a very costly surgery and there was no one to loan them money. So Tess overhears. You can just see in the picture which is towards the right. Tess overhears when her parents were talking that only a miracle can save Andrew. So immediately she doesn't know the meaning of a miracle, but immediately she gathers all her pocket money and she visits a medical store. There she goes and asks the chemist, "Give me a miracle." How innocent she is. Even though she doesn't know the meaning of a miracle, she at any cost wants to save her brother's life. Now, who is a chemist? Chemist is a person who is engaged in doing some research in medicines. He has very good idea about medicines. You can see a chemist in the medical stores when you go. Okay. So, the chemist asks Tess, "What do you need? We don't sell any miracles here." Then you can see other person there in the picture. That person is none other than, he is a famous neurosurgeon, Carlton Armstrong. Okay. So, who is a neurosurgeon? Now, in medicine, you have various doctors. When you go to a hospital, you can see various doctors, like for example, cardiologist. Cardiologist is a doctor who treats the patients who has some problem with the heart. Orthopedic is the doctor who treats the patients who have some problem with the bones. So, a neurosurgeon treats people who have some problems with the nervous system. So, this neurosurgeon asks Tess, "What do you need a miracle for? Why do you need a miracle?" Then Tess tells him that his brother who is sick, he needs a miracle. Then the doctor asks Tess, "How much money do you have?" She says, "I have $1.11. Now, let me ask you a question here. How many cents make a dollar? You might have learnt about this in your mathematics in currency. Yes, 100 cents make a dollar. Okay. So, when Tess says that she has $1.11, then the doctor says that's the exact amount for the miracle. He doesn't want to disappoint this little girl. So, he gives respect for the girl's love towards her brother. So, immediately he agrees to visit Tess' home and they take Andrew to the hospital, and later on he will be operated and he gets recovered from his sickness. So, what did you understand from this lesson? You can see a girl's love and concern towards her brother. Even though at a very young age of 8 years, she has lot of concern and love towards her brother, towards her family. Now students, you can learn many things from this little girl. Do you have that love and concern towards your family? Let's see our impressions on this lesson. Concern and love towards her family. We can see Tess' concern and love towards her family, and we can see that sense of responsibility of Tess. At a very young age, she shows that sense of responsibility, and you can see the confidence levels of Tess. Even though she doesn't know the meaning of a miracle, she is so confident that definitely she can get that miracle with the little money which she has, and she goes to the medical store in order to bring that miracle for her brother. So, you can see all these qualities in Tess. That is the concern of her for her family. Now, firstly you see these qualities of Tess, but secondly you see one more thing about the doctor. The doctor, even though he is nowhere related to this family and he is not a relative, but still he has very good concern towards others, and he doesn't think about the money which he gets if he does that operation, but he just gave respect towards the girl's love and affection. So we can see this good quality even in the doctor. That is the value of good relations. The doctor knows very well about maintaining good human relations. Okay, let's look at another lesson. The tattered blanket. Now, the title of the lesson itself signifies that probably the lives of the characters in this lesson are tattered. Tattered. What is the meaning of tattered? Let me write it on the board. Tattered means torn. Yes. So the meaning of tattered is torn. So the lives of a mother and a widowed sister has become torn because there is nobody to take care of them. You can see in the slide, tattered lives of a mother and a widowed sister. In this lesson, in the picture, you can see a man is entering into a house, that is the son of the old woman who is sitting on an armchair, and beside that old woman you can see another woman, that is her daughter, who is widowed. She doesn't have a husband. So the son, he doesn't live along with his mother. He lives at a far off place and he doesn't have time to take care of his mother, and he doesn't visit his mother's house. It is after more than 5 years that he visits this house. And you know why he visited this house of his mother? It is not to look at his mother. It is not to take care of his mother. But he wanted to sell his share of property which he gets. So he came there in order to talk about that issue. So this clearly depicts the son's irresponsibility towards his mother, and it clearly tells us the hollowness of human relations. He doesn't realize how hard her mother worked in order to bring him up, but he gives various reasons that he doesn't have time and he is very busy. And this time also, while he was returning from a meeting conducted by his office, he visits because it was on his way home. So he visits the mother, and also he has a purpose, that is to talk about his share of property. So we see the son's irresponsibility in this lesson. So this lesson clearly tells us how a son shouldn't be. It tells us how responsible the children should be towards their parents. So this is a lesson. It should be learnt by all the people. Whoever doesn't care for their parents and whoever doesn't have time for their parents, they should know that they should be responsible and they should maintain very good relations and strong bond of relations with their parents. Let's look at other slide. Okay. Here we have a poem, Father Returning Home. This poem is an autobiographical poem. You can see towards the right, autobiographical poem. Now what is autobiography? Biography is when we write about the life of a person, that is called as a biography. When I write about my life, then that is my autobiography. So this poem is about the life of the poet. He tells about his father in this poem, and this poem clearly tells us about an old man's hard work, how hardly an old man works for his family, the loneliness and the world weariness of an old man. And here the poet Dilip Chitr, he realizes that his father, who was very old, he was not being taken care of properly, and he led a very monotonous life. Every line of this poem teaches a lesson for us. I picked few lines for you all. Okay, let's look at the slide. Late evening train. So the father returns home in the late evening train. This late evening train indicates the working hours of the father, that the father works till late hours in the night and he catches the last evening train, the late evening train. This tells us about the hard work of the father, of a man for his family. Standing among silent commuters inside the train. Now, the father, when he is returning through the train, he stands, he doesn't have a seat for him, and he simply stands among the silent commuters. Who are the commuters? Commuters are the passengers who are traveling every day, going and coming home. So, he is standing silently among the silent passengers inside the train. This tells us about the sufferings, not just suffering because he is standing, but sufferings during the journey of his life, the problems and the obstacles that he faced in his life. So, this complete poem is symbolic to various parts of our life, the various struggles and sufferings of an old man. So, when the father returns home, he washes his hands and he can feel the coldness of the water. This coldness of water symbolizes the fearful thought of his isolation from the rest of the world. That is, he gets a fearful thought that he is all alone at home and there is no one. So, whenever he feels that coldness of the water, that immediately reminds him of his loneliness, of his isolation from the rest of the world. Let's look at the next line. Dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren. You can see in the picture the father is sleeping all alone and he dreams about his ancestors and grandchildren when he sleeps. So, why does he do? Because he finds some solace. Solace means some comfort in thinking about his past and future generations. So, when he thinks about his past, that is about his ancestors, and about his future generation, that is about his grandchildren, even though nobody takes care of him, but he finds some comfort the moment he recollects those people in his mind. So, this poem clearly tells us about the various struggles of a person in his life. So, if the old man was with his children or with his grandchildren, he wouldn't have got so many negative thoughts in his mind and he wouldn't have faced such a lot of struggles. Okay. Next we have another lesson, the journey. This lesson tells us about the journey in the life of a son and of a father. It clearly tells us about the relationship between a father and a son. So, the son comes home, he is living at another place, at his workplace, somewhere far from his village, and because he wanted to get married, he comes to his village. So, when he came to the village, he took the help of a porter in order to carry his luggage, and now that he got married, he has to return to his workplace again. So, he takes his luggage and he stands out of his house thinking. So, he wants someone to carry his luggage and he will be waiting for any person to pick his luggage, but because that was the time of harvesting, no person is available in the village. They were busy in their fields. So, even though there was no person available, still the son will be standing and thinking, waiting for anyone. Finally, the father agrees to carry his trunk box. Just observe, children. So, the son knows that there is no person available, but he is not ready to pick his luggage, to carry his luggage, because he feels shy and he thinks that he would be laughed at. The whole world would laugh at him if he carries his luggage, because he is working as he has a white collar job. That is, that white collar job refers to he is a government officer. So, he feels that if he carries his luggage, then everybody would laugh at him. And so, The father carries his luggage till the bus stand and he gets into the bus and they both travel in opposite directions. Opposite directions has an importance here. That is, they are not just traveling here, the son is not just traveling by bus here in opposite direction, but even in life, the son is leading a life of comfort and the father is leading a life of working hard, and so he is carrying the luggage. But because I am educated, this education, he would carry his own luggage. No, he made his father do that. So this clearly tells us that there is no good relationship between a father and a son here. So there are lot of differences even in the, whether it's in the mind or in their life. So this lesson also tells us how a son shouldn't be. And it teaches us that a son or a child should be responsible towards their parents. Okay. So till now we have seen about various relationship in various lessons, like a sister and brother relationship, a daughter and parent relationship, father and son relationship, and also in the first lesson we saw an unknown person, that is doctor, how he gave importance to human relations. So we have seen various relationships in this till now, so far. Now, okay. Next we have another lesson, that is the dear departed. This lesson clearly depicts the sad reality of modern nuclear families who have completely strained with individual and selfish desires. In this play, this is a drama, and in this drama we see an old man has two daughters, and when the daughter's name is Amelia, when she goes into her father's room in the morning, she finds that the father is not moving, and so probably he is dead. So immediately, without confirming his death, she informs her sister who is away, and immediately they start changing their clothes and wearing a mourning suit, that is, which very well suits the occasion of sadness of the death of a person. So all these things are superficial. She wears a black attire. She wants to be seen in a black attire because she wants to show herself that she is very sad that her father died. And you can see in the picture, the woman is holding a clock and coming down. So before another sister comes, before her sister comes, she wants to pinch, that is, steal all the small things and tell that her father gave it to her. So they also steal a bureau of the father, that is the wooden table which you can see in the picture. So the eagerness to divide the belongings of the father. So the daughters are so materialistic that taking care of the father is not a matter of responsibility for them. It has become a matter of comfort, and it has become it is not at all an emotional strength for them. So they want to see whether they would get any financial aid if they take care of their father. So this play clearly depicts the lack of human relations and the degradation of moral values among the children for their parents. Okay. Yes. What do you see here? Who is this person? She is Helen Keller, and she was the first blind deaf woman who completed her bachelor's degree. Just imagine, students, how difficult it is for a blind and as well as deaf person to be educated, to do even a simple work. You can see other person also in the slide. She is Miss Anne Sullivan, who is the teacher of Helen Keller. And if you see the biography of Helen Keller, half of 3/4, probably we can say 70% of the life of Helen Keller is filled by Miss Anne Sullivan, because Anne Sullivan is not just the teacher of Helen Keller, but she has become everything for her. It is because of Sullivan that Helen's life was, she came out of that self-contained life and she was able to interact with the people outside, in the outside world. She was like a lifeline for Helen Keller. You know the meaning of lifeline? Yes, when we don't have any hope, then we take the lifeline. So it is because of the Sullivan that Helen Keller's life was made into a bright life. So this is the relationship between Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. You can see the biographical movie of Helen Keller, that is Miracle Worker. It is very interesting and it tells us clearly how Sullivan struggled to teach Helen Keller, and Helen Keller was able to create a connection between the object and the spelling. It is because of Anne Sullivan. So Helen Keller says that, Anne Sullivan, it is because of you, whatever is there in me is because of you. And it is because of Anne Sullivan that her life has ended up like that, without which she would have been walled into the dark and hopeless world. And Anne Sullivan, initially she took a separate cottage in order to teach Helen Keller. That was her dedication and love towards Helen Keller. Okay. Next, what are your today's takeaways? We have learnt many things today in this session, that life is all about relationships, and relationships are about good communication. We can see here that good relationships are like trees. They demand attention and care in the beginning, but once they blossom, they provide shade in all situations of life. So when we take care of minute things, then definitely it will lead us into happiness, and it will take care of us in all the situations of our life when we have very good relations with others. So let's remove the spaces among us and build good relations even in the family or in the outside world with the people around us. Now it's time for you all to note down today's assignment. So students, write a short paragraph about your family and how you would like to keep up your family ties despite being away from your family. So write a small paragraph about your family and how would you like to maintain good relations with your family members even when you're away from your family. The second one, draw a web of relationships by including your parents, friends and dear ones. A small picture of the web is given for you all for an idea. Draw it the same way, and in the center you can include yourself, you can put your picture or you can write your name, and in the remaining strings you can write your parents, your friends or your dear ones according to the importance, who is more important for you. And then below the web, write separately, mention how they are important to you and what traits do you like in them. So mention what all traits you have learnt about, some traits, and also more you observe in different persons. So mention all those traits, and hope you liked this creative activity and hope you all liked this session. I thank our society and secretary for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.